I've struggled with back pain for years. Nothing seems to set it off like sitting at a desk, especially sitting at a desk working with a keyboard and mouse. I've researched and tried various ergonomic solutions. I had some success with standing desk arrangements I made for myself, but it was the reclining workstation concept that appealed to me the most. And the most appealing to me of these was the Altwork, with reclined, upright, and standing configurations. I finally sprang for one recently, and I like it a lot. But Altwork sort of leaves it to me to figure out how to attach a keyboard and pointing device to the magnetic desk so they don't fall off in the reclined position when the desk goes vertical. The station came with a set of very strong rare earth magnets, each with adhesive on one side, and a rigid, partly magnetic mouse pad. When I started out, I thought I wanted to use a mouse, and I thought this was going to be a video about hacking mice to put magnets in them, and it used to be. Since November of last year, I did a lot of mouse hacking. But rather than show you all that, let me jump to where I wound up. Spoiler alert, after messing with magnetic mice for months and one old trackball, I decided none of these were really working for me. I'll explain why later. In June of 2026, I decided to pick up a Logitech MX ERGO S Plus wireless trackball and give that a try. When I got it home and put it on my desk, I was surprised to find that it was already magnetic. No hacking required, because it's intended to be used with this metal base. But as it turns out, it also holds to the Altwork magnetic desk with just enough force to stay put when the desk goes vertical. An extra magnet just fits on the underside and even without adhesive adds a little more holding force for increased security and stability. As I expected, using a trackball takes some getting used to. Already though, I like it much better than any of the mice I hacked, and I imagine as my thumb gets more intimate with the ball, I'll like it even more. While I was at it, I also sprang for a Logitech ERGO K860 ergonomic keyboard. I like it a little better than the old Kinesis Freestyle I had been using, and it was much easier to attach magnets to because it has plenty of flat space on the bottom that's parallel to the desktop. But I still had to add a new mounting spot with epoxy putty. I tried it without this, and it just was almost enough. Not because the magnets are too not strong enough, they're just too slippery. So I had to attach these little bits of grip tape, but without this extra magnet, there was just enough shear that this grip tape kept sliding off. No matter, I used several different types, including just the vinyl, vinyl electrician's tape. This is different grip tape. But none of it worked until I added this spot and this magnet, and now it works. It's worked, been stable like this for several weeks, I think. If you're still interested in hacking mice to use with your Altwork, here's what I learned in a nutshell. Before I actually tried, I thought I might just stick some magnets to the bottom of a mouse and I'd be good to go, but that didn't work. Every mouse I've seen for many years uses an optical sensor on the bottom to track its movement. This sensor only works when it's very close to a surface. Even my thinnest magnets made my mice sit too high off the desk and their sensors stopped working. Therefore, I wound up putting magnets inside the mice. The basic Logitech M196 mouse was inexpensive and the easiest to take apart and reassemble. It required minimal modification to accept magnets and worked fine on my desk afterwards, but I didn't like the ergonomics so much. I had been trying the Logitech Lift vertical mouse and I really liked the ergonomics of that. It was trickier to put magnets in, but I managed. The fatal flaw of the Lift mouse in my application is that the unique haptics of the scroll wheel turned out to be due to some kind of magnetic mechanism. There's a magnet in the scroll wheel, and the magnets I added to the base interacted with that and yanked it around, causing erratic scrolling. I even tried installing a magnetic shield made out of a flattened steel soup can. That did not work. But now that I knew I liked vertical mice, I went looking for another one to try. The Evaluant Vertical Mouse Classic was the least expensive I found on Amazon, so I tried that next. It was much easier to put magnets in than the Lift mouse was, and that worked fine. But I did not like the ergonomics nearly as well. And it has too many buttons. I can't imagine what the designer was thinking. I found I could not touch the thing without unintentionally pressing some function button or another, and doing so often did unexpected or destructive things. So I came up with another hack I'm particularly proud of to address the surfeit of buttons. It involved 3D printing some tiny lockout cages that snapped over the miniature switches under the offending buttons. These worked great to disable the switches and turned the buttons into inert decorative trim pieces. And the disablement was reversible, unlike some other ideas that came to mind. I tried using these magnetic mice, issues and all, in various ways, some for weeks, some for days. And I also tried that old trackball, which didn't quite fall out of its cradle when the desk went vertical, but almost. In any case, I just didn't like the ergonomics of it so much. And none of the mice really felt that great. I had hoped I would be able to find just the right magnet strength to hold a mouse securely to the vertical desk while still allowing it to slide easily. But I finally concluded I could not have both goals. By adjusting the number and placement of magnets in the mice, I was able to achieve fine control over the holding force. But by the time the force was large enough to hold any mouse to the vertical desk, it became annoyingly hard to slide around. Rather than getting used to it, I found the difficulty in sliding became more annoying, fatiguing, and distracting with time and use. I also found that gunk quickly built up on the desk in the area of the mice and made sliding even harder, uneven, rough, and kind of gross feeling. I figured it was probably mostly dirt, dead skin, and oils from my hand, maybe also mixed with glue from the glide pads which I disturbed on the bottoms of the mice. I had hoped the mouse pad that came with the Altwork would be more enabling than I found it to be. Its existence does sort of imply that you can use mice with the Altwork, but after struggling for a while to use the several mice with it, I was well primed to fall in love with the thumb trackball once I discovered it. The Altwork mouse pad is non-magnetic except along the left and bottom edges. Several magnets along the left edge hold it firmly to the desk. The thickness of the pad puts enough distance between my magnetic mice and the desk such that they don't hold strongly enough to stay put when the desk is vertical. Mice would stay put, but only if I was diligent enough to park them over the magnets along the left edge of the pad. But parking and unparking mice was a drag. I often wanted, for example, to let go of the mouse in its current position and just use the scroll wheel, but that was not possible. So I would pick up the mouse and set it down on the magnets to park it, but that would disturb the position if I were not very careful. And mouse droppings were frequent. The magnetic strip on the bottom of the pad did not reliably catch dropped mice. Logitech also makes a Model MX vertical mouse, which looks surprisingly similar to the Lift. In the big box store, the scroll wheel felt like that of a normal mouse. I don't think it had magnets in it, but I was not able to test this in the store. If you want to try your hand at hacking vertical mice, you might consider starting with that one. If it's like the other vertical mice, there are probably screws hidden under adhesive glide pads and or labels on the bottom. You need to get at these, and heat from a hairdryer can help remove the pads. Much of the rest of the mouse will probably snap together. Spudger tools can help get snap-on parts off without damage. But I think I'm settled on this Logitech thumb trackball and keyboard combination for my Altwork. As much as I enjoy a good hack, I was glad to find this trackball came with magnets already in the base. And that would be my recommendation for anyone with an Altwork workstation or anything similar. Thanks for watching.